So I went ahead and bought 2 of these AeroGarden Sprouts, which seems like a really weird thing to do, especially when I have the AeroGarden farm, but I really wanted to be able to start doing some videos showing comparisons of different things that you can do with the AeroGarden, like root trimming and testing water and some of the other things. So I thought it would be great to have 2 small models where I can do those experiments and then leave my AeroGarden farm growing what I want it to grow. And because I had them, I thought it would be a great opportunity to do a quick setup video and kind of show you what comes in the box and how to set it all up. So that's what we're gonna do. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Kiri, and I am just a city girl who wishes she was a country girl who is currently living in the burbs. If you are new here, then welcome and hello. On this channel, we talk about all things micro homesteading, growing both indoors hydroponically and growing outside in the garden, as well as other ways to become more self-sufficient and reduce your reliance on the grocery store. So if that is your thing or you would like that to be your thing, then go ahead and hit subscribe and the notification bell so you will know when I post videos in the future. So with all that out of the way, let's get to setting up this AeroGarden Sprout. So what I'm going to do first is I'll just do a little unboxing and just kind of show you what comes in it, and then we will get to actually setting it up. So let's see what we got. The first thing we got in here is this little kit for 3 seeds. It has dill, curly parsley, and the Genovese basil. So if we open this up, you get 3 pods because the sprout only has 3 pods. So we have the dill, which are all pre-seeded. So your seeds, everything you need is already in here. And then we have the curly parsley and the Genovese basil. So I actually don't use these pre-seeded pods. I mean, I'll use these ones because they came with it, but I don't typically go out and buy them. I like to use my own seeds. So I use the Grow Anything pods, and I get my own baskets and my own domes separately in bulk. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to do that. That's just my own personal preference because I like growing heirloom seeds. And I have heard some things about people complaining that they don't have, either nothing grew, and that could be because the seeds fell out in transit, or something else grew because a different seed got in here, or sometimes a weed. Now, that said, AeroGarden is very good. If you have any issues, you can usually just contact them and they will send you new pods, and they do have a guarantee that they will grow. So if you want it just easy, you can definitely go ahead and buy these. You're going to have a lot less variety, and I'm all about variety, and I'm all about heirloom seeds. I'm an heirloom seed snob. That's just me, and also a seed addict, but that's a whole other different issue. So I just like having the flexibility of growing what I would like, but these are still a fantastic option if you're just getting started, or if you just like the varieties that they have, then, you know, you do you. Also in here, we get the little domes. These will go on top. I have done a separate video on AeroGarden tips for anybody that's new getting started. I will put the link up above to that one, and I go through the domes and when to take them off and answer a whole bunch of questions. So that's definitely something you should check out if you're just getting started. And then you will also get some of the AeroGarden nutrients, and it tells you on here how much to do, but we'll get to that in a second. So what else is in the box? We have the actual grow bowl. This is where your pods are going to go in these holes here. It's all taped up, which is a good thing. So we'll just watch me struggle to get the tape off. And then, so this is, like I said, the smallest model, unless they still do the Herbie. I'm not sure if they do. But this is definitely one of the smaller models that they have. Okay, so taking a look at the top, there is a little flap that comes up here at the front. And this shows you that right there is your fill line. It helpfully says on here, fill to here. You're not gonna wanna go over that, so it's showing you the level at which the water is. Funny enough, it actually sits lower than the indicator on the front. So initially when I filled up the other one, which I already have set up, I filled it up based on here, then opened it up and looked and saw I had put too much in here. So yeah, just fill it up to where it says. Now, the top of this comes off. There's not much to this, which actually will make it easier to clean. If you have any of the other models, I have another video on how to clean the AeroGarden. Again, I will put that up top. This one is easier because you do not have to take apart the deck, so it'll definitely be easier to clean. It's just because it's a much simpler setup. So in here it's very hard to see because it is dark. There is the pump. On the other models in the deck, typically the water from the pump goes up into the deck and then it moves through, and there's little holes where it pours out of, which are a pain in the butt to clean. So this one, apparently, just because it's smaller, it doesn't have that same setup, so easy to clean. So that's what you have in there. And then, so that's your grow bowl. And then what else do we have in here? We have power cord. And then we have the light unit like that, so you can see all the lights are up there, the LEDs. It does go up a little bit, which is good. I talked about the light height as well in the other video. On the top, that's where you can control the lights. And there is also, right above the light button, there is a little tiny light that tells you to add the plant food. Essentially, it's on a 14-day timer. So when you set it up, that kind of sets it. And then when it's time to, so after 14 days, it'll start flashing to remind you to add the plant food. So that's it. Box is empty. So I'm just going to move and we'll set this up there and I will show you how to set it all up, which isn't hard, so don't worry about it. At the back, at the bottom, there is the input for the adapter, for the power adapter. So go ahead and set that one up first. Just don't plug it into the wall. That's what I was doing. So I'm going to put that one in. We have our power cord. So I'll take this end and it just goes in at the bottom. There, just plug it in snugly. Now that we have the power adapter in but not plugged in, the next thing I want to do is connect up the pump. That's going to go into right there. So we'll put this over here. Carefully let that cord dangle for now. So before you go and plug in the pump, just best to take off the dome. One less thing to worry about. And then go ahead and feed that in. And then just set it into the little tray. It just fits right in there. And then you can take your grow deck and place that back on. So it's important that you don't plug it in before you put the water in, because you don't want the pump running dry without any water. So like I said, make sure that you don't plug it in. My cord is just dangling there. And now I'm gonna add the water. I don't think this is going to be enough water, but we'll start with this. Probably need one more of these. Okay, so the water is in. I'm going to put the cap back on. Next thing we need to add is the nutrients, which I've lost. Whenever I'm adding nutrients, I always like to just give them a shake so parts of it can settle. So it's always good just to mix it all up. Okay, so once it's all shaken up, we're going to need to go and add it. So we need to be adding 4 milliliters, so basically one of these capfuls at startup, and we're going to do the same thing every 2 weeks. Some of the other models, like my farm, it has a different amount at startup than it does afterwards, so just make sure you check for the model that you have. But in this case, for the Sprout, it's 1 capful every 2 weeks. As I mentioned, I just use the Grow Anything pods, which are the same pods that come in the pre-seeded ones with the same baskets. They're just empty, and so I can do it myself. I get them both in bulk, and I will just put that down in the description if you're curious about doing your own seeds. I just like it because you get so much more flexibility. And the whole heirloom snob thing too, right? We can't forget that. So talking about being an heirloom snob, what I'm going to be planting in this today is a mini bell pepper from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed, which is where I get all of my seeds from, with the exception of Row 7 seeds. I have got a few from them recently, and I'm really liking them. They also have the most beautiful seed packages, but I don't have any of those up here. So, mini bell pepper. And the other one is this micro hat tomato. This one only grows to 6 inches, 6 to 9 inches tall. So typically peppers and tomatoes would not be what you were planting in a sprout, but because both of these are dwarf varieties, that's why I'm going to go ahead and do them. The pepper's bigger, so I'm going to put that at the back and put the tomato in the front. And also because I'm using this for a root trimming experiment, I wanted something that was going to have a lot of roots to really show the difference. If there is a difference, I have no idea because I've never root trimmed before. So we will all learn with this, hopefully. Anyways, so because I'm only planting 2, and as I mentioned, the sprout has 3 pods, we need to cover the extra hole. So I just got these yesterday. They are these little AeroGarden branded caps that cover up the holes that you are not using. You absolutely do not need to use these. They just fit in perfectly, and I saw them and I wanted to try them out. You can use anything you have around to cover it. Basically, you don't want to let the light in. A lot of people use golf balls. I just don't have any, don't play golf. So you can use what you have around. You definitely don't need to go ahead and buy them. But if you want to, you can. The prime reason that we want to cover the holes that we're not using is to stop any light getting down into the water. Again, I talk about that in my beginner tips video. So basically, if you have light, water, and nutrients, you're going to pretty much end up with algae. And because that is what we have in the unit, we need to remove one of those things. The only thing we can remove is the light. So we do that by covering off the hole and limiting the amount of light that gets into the water, and therefore hopefully limits the amount of algae that's going to occur. So both units have the middle hole covered. I'll just show you. So there we have the little cap on both units. And then what we're going to go and do is I'm going to go ahead and get the seeds into these. Because I am using the baskets myself and putting the pods in, they don't have that normal green sticker that goes on top. That is very, very important. Basically, that's another thing that's going to stop the light getting down. So after I have put the seeds in the pods, I have some of these that I will be putting on. These are the old version that I've had for a while. These ones actually have to be ironed on, which is why I have the iron over there. They have some new ones that are stickers, which will be a whole lot easier, but I still have these and don't want to waste anything, so I'm using these up before I get any new ones. In terms of how many seeds I'm going to put in, for peppers and tomatoes, I always put in 2 seeds, and then the idea is you will take out the weakest one. Usually I try and pull it out and then replant it because I never like to waste a seedling, but you can just go ahead and snip it out. You don't have to do that. If you're doing something like a lettuce or a herb, you can go in there and put in a couple more, and they're usually okay to stay in there. But something that's big like a pepper or tomato, you're just going to want to end up with 1 per pod. So I'm going to do the micro hat tomatoes first. So I grab my basket, and then the grow pod has a little hole in the center, so I just pop that in there. Then what I usually do is push it closer to the top so it's easier to get into, and then very carefully drop in my 2 seeds. And then I've heated up the iron, so then I'm going to take the iron on one. Just pop that on top, and then ever so quickly hold that on top there. I like to move it around a bit. And basically you're just melting the adhesive around the edges. And that should be good enough. And then it has the hole in the center, which the plant will just poke through. So I've seen some people asking, do you need to remove this? No, do not remove it. The plant, there's little cuts in here. It's got little cuts, so it will move out of the way. The plants are strong enough, they will push it out of the way. Do not take this off. The other thing I like to do for the domes is I like to put them on first, so you can get them on nice and snug. I found that if you put it into the unit and try and push them on, sometimes they just keep popping off. So I just do it this way and then just pop the whole thing in. So for the actual grow pods, I get the Amazon branded ones. There are definitely knockoff ones that you could get, or I've seen other people use sponges. I haven't tried that yet, and I do know for some of the other ones that are not the AeroGarden brand ones, sometimes the hole is really hard to get to. These ones I've found have been really good, but again, if the other ones are cheaper and you want to get them, go for it. See if it works for you. And then lastly, I'm going to do the 2 pepper plants. So these are just a regular bell pepper. I've had these before. I've grown them. I love them. They're so cute. It's also a mix of the different colors. These ones don't grow very tall. So again, with the peppers, I'm going to be putting in 2 seeds per pod, and then we'll pop those at the back. If you're using the labels for a bunch of different stuff, go ahead and write on it what it is. Labeling is key, because I only have the same thing and it's the same in both. It's pretty easy to remember. But definitely don't think you're going to remember where you put things unless you have photographic memory, and then congratulations, you'll be fine. The rest of us, or at least me, I forget everything. I always think, oh, I'm going to remember what that is. And then anytime I do that, I have no idea. Okay, so now that the water's in, the nutrients in, the pods and the seeds are all in, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the second unit, and then we'll just show you a couple things on the top for the lights. The lights are in the lowest, oops, there, I turned it off. The lights are in the lowest position, which is what we want. You want to keep the light height 4 to 6 inches above the top of the plant, so as they grow, you will raise that up. On the top, if you want to turn the lights out for whatever reason, this will not reset the timer, but you can just touch it once and the light will go off. You can touch it again and the light will come back on. The timing for when the lights go on, they are on for 15 hours and then off for the remainder. The timer for when they come on is set by the time you plug it in. So right now it is 12:41 in the afternoon. So that would be when this is going to come on. Obviously that means it's going to be on really late, so I'm going to have to reset that. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to go on the top where we have the light button, and you're going to hold that for 5 seconds, but you do that at the time that you want it to come on. So pretty much later on tonight, I'll come and touch it once to turn it off when this one goes off. And then in the morning, I think I have this one set to go on at 7:15. So at 7:15 tomorrow morning, I will come here, I will hold on the light button for 5 seconds, and then the lights will kick in and that will reset the time that they come on. So the other thing I want to show in here is this is where the add plant food is. So because it knows that I started today, in 14 days that light will start flashing, and then I can quickly hold on this one, not for the 5 seconds, for less than that, and that should reset that light. So that's pretty much it, guys, for the unboxing and setup of the AeroGarden Sprout. Check out future videos where I give an update and start looking into the root trimming of these. I will be including these guys in my garden tours that I do every Sunday. That's it for today, guys. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, because YouTube loves that, and then it helps me reach more people. And so if you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I post videos in the future. And I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, don't forget to enjoy the little things and to go out there and make food grow. Bye, guys.